Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Gabe with Indigo Software, genuine Microsoft software for less. So in today's video, we're covering some of the basic computer specifications that you see when making a purchase. And we're going to explain a little bit about what they are, as well as why they matter. So hopefully by the end of this, you'll have a better idea when you're purchasing your own computer, and you'll understand a little bit more about how computers work. Now, before we get into that, if you're interested in genuine Microsoft software at a great price, check out Indigo Software. We'll have links in the description box below. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so the first thing that we're going to discuss is the CPU, otherwise known as Central Processing Unit, or just simply processor. So this is kind of like the brain of your computer, and it's very important which one you get based on what you're going to do with your computer. Some of the most popular processors today are the Intel cores. You have the Core i3, i5, i7, and even i9. They also make a Xeon processor, which is a special type of processor. And in some of the newer Mac computers, you have the Apple Silicon processors. Right now they have M1 and M2. So you can have M1 Pro, M2 Pro, or Max versions of that processor. Now when it comes to the Intel Core processors, the lower the number, generally the less performance you're going to get from the processor. So an i7 is generally a very capable processor for tasks like video editing or Adobe software, and it will better be able to handle multitasking. So when it comes to which processor you choose, it just all depends on what you're doing on your computer. So more demanding things like gaming, video editing are going to require a faster processor, whereas if you use your computer for email and browsing the web, you're typically not going to need that faster speed, and you can go with something like an i5. Now, another specification that you can find with CPUs is what's called cores. So the number of cores, you can kind of think of it like having more individual processors. And if you want to learn more about that, we actually have a video explaining CPU cores, and you can click that right here. For a quick example, my computer is a 6-core Intel i9. So when I'm doing things like video editing with 4K resolutions or 60 frames per second, the processor on this computer is well equipped to handle that. Now there are a bunch of other specs for the CPU itself, but the last one we're going to talk about is clock speed. This is commonly referred to as frequency, and it's basically how many instructions per second it can process. This measurement is typically reported in megahertz or gigahertz. So for example, this computer is 2.9 gigahertz. If you're doing things like video editing and gaming, you'll want 2.3 gigahertz or more. And if you're using your computer for less demanding tasks, you don't have to go that high. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is RAM, otherwise known as random access memory. If your computer is slow and it's making you frustrated, RAM is likely the thing that you have to blame. So in simple terms, the more RAM that you have, the more applications that you can run simultaneously. Now here's how much RAM we recommend based on some possible uses. So if you're a casual user and you're just doing internet browsing, email, listening to music, or streaming some videos, at least 8 gigabytes of RAM is going to be sufficient for those tasks. Now, if you're an intermediate user and you do all the same things as a casual user, but maybe you use Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and some Photoshop, things like that, we recommend going to 16 gigabytes of RAM or more. Now, if you're more of a professional user doing things like high performance gaming, multimedia editing, high definition video, and graphic design, we recommend that you have 32 gigabytes or more of RAM. So it gets more expensive as it goes along, but it's really helpful to have more RAM if you're using high demanding programs. Now, the last thing that we're going to talk about today is the screen. So in some cases, a screen with really good specifications might be necessary, or it might not be. The first thing is resolution. So 1080p, which is 1920 by 1080 pixels, was a very popular screen resolution for many years. Now it's mostly common to find 1440p or even 4K resolutions, but for most people 1080p should be adequate and 4K is just kind of like a luxury. Now as far as the type of display panel goes, the most common types are going to be LCD and organic LED. LCDs have been around longer and are quite less expensive than organic LED. Organic LED will give you the best color out of any of the display panels that you can purchase. Another common spec for the screen is the refresh rate. Now this is going to be measured in hertz, and the higher the refresh rate that you have, generally the smoother picture you'll have. So this is very useful for, 60, 75, and 90 are pretty popular for basic laptops and computers. 120 and above are going to be kind of like gaming monitors or screens, as that refresh rate will be really high and you won't have very much input lag. All right, so that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys have any questions, drop those in the comment section below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Again, if you're interested in genuine Microsoft software at a great price, check out Indigo Software. We'll have links in the description box below. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.